Hi again. We've been talking about the Darwinian theory of evolution and the reasons for it, and the genes and gene mutation. And this one, I'm going to talk about the trying to tie the gene mutation and the effects of it with the karma. I've talked about law of karma in the past quite a bit in detail. There are a few videos if you go back to look at it. And I want to tie that up with the genetic mutation. So I just wanted to tell you about it. So let me refresh the law of karma. So whatever I do or anybody does, which lives with an impression, that impression leads to a desire, and that desire leads to an action, and action again leads to an impression. So this is a circle of mind. So it's, let's say if I eat something, it gives me an impression that either I love it, like it, or I don't like it or dislike it. And that leads to my next action. When I'm hungry, I try to look for that particular type of food. When I get it, I'm happy. When I don't get it, I'm unhappy. When I eat it, it leaves me an impression of being nice, and that leads to a desire again. So this circle of action, impression, desire, action, impression continues. And this is not stored in the physical body only, but it is stored much deeper than that. And these are the things which are carried from one life to another life to another life. And we are reborn to satisfy these desires. Now, this is one explanation. The second one is that when I do something good or bad to other person, that leads to an impression. And that impression either gives me a give and take type of attachments. Let's say I donated money for helping a child to go through the college. I have developed an attachment to that. Or I loaned somebody money and he did not pay me back. That gives me a negative impression. These attachments, the desires, lead to again an impression and carry my desire to be reborn to satisfy my unsatisfied desires. And the development of relationships that we have with our father, mother, brother, sister, neighbor, spouse, children, etc., they all kind of bind us together. And this binding leads us to, again, reborn to give and take whatever I might have. So my mother might have helped me, and I may not have repaid it, or I helped somebody, a neighbor or a friend, and it didn't get repaid. We again come back to satisfy, fulfill those relationships. So those are the two reasons why we are born. And so our circle of rebirth is continued. Now, how can I guarantee that whatever desires I have will be fulfilled when I'm born? So let's take an example. Let's say I love fish, and I've been attached intensely to eating fish and fish preparations and foods. If I'm born in a completely vegetarian or vegan family, there is no way I would be born into, there was no way I would satisfy my desire to eat fish. Suppose I love alcohol and I'm born into a family where absolute alcohol is prohibited. There's no way I can have my desire fulfilled, and so I would try to shy away from these kind of situations when I'm selecting my parents for the next life. Now, certain things are done through the genetics. For example, diabetics. If a father and a mother both are diabetic, there is a almost significant 100% chance that the child will have a diabetes. The same thing holds true about certain cancers and certain other diseases. So if my desires and my give and take attachments are related to certain of these things, I will be born into a family where I have a high risk or high chance of having those genetic mutations, or I will have myself a new genetic mutation that will lead to me having a success, fulfillment of my desires and attachment, or if I've done bad karmas, coming to the fruition through the mutation of the genes that will give me a bad outcome. So one of the explanations for the spontaneous genetic mutation is that the desires and the law of karma has to act. The only way they can act is through the physical body. The physical bodies are made of cells. The cells have nucleus has genes, and there is a genetic mutation. So whenever I am supposed to have certain effects of the seeds of the karma that I've sowed in this particular life, I will get a genetic mutation or exposure to certain things that is going to cause a disease or an effect that I will end up repaying the debt or satisfying the desires and the lust. So the final outcome of law of karma, or the seeds that are sowed and are going to come to fruition in this life, must act through the physical body. And the physical body, the only way it will act would be to have some changes in the chromosomes, the genes, the DNA. Certain things we are born. As we stated it before, I carry 50% genes from father, 50% genes from mother, and in addition to that, each generation has certain genetic mutations. Some are environmental and some are spontaneous, and so I will be exposed to certain environment which will cause the genetic mutation. For example, secondary smoke. If somebody is supposed to have a lung cancer for whatever reasons, and I don't know what kind of karma would lead to a lung cancer or high blood pressure, it has to be done through a genetic changes. So blood pressure, diabetes changes. Environment, again, diabetes, as well as alcoholism, as well as smoke inhalation or smoking, secondary if I'm not primarily smoker, they will lead to the certain outcome or changes in the genes that will promote it. Asthma, I'll give you an example. Mothers, when they smoke, their offsprings are likely to have asthma. Mothers in low socioeconomic status with recurrent infections also can have asthma. Born in New Zealand, I have some increased tendency for asthma. So each one of these environmental conditions, environment, will lead to certain diseases. Obesity, excessive fat intake, etc. will also lead to certain diseases. And these are again nurtured nature combination that will lead to certain disease as an outcome. So the genes are the final pathway for actions of karma. The karmas lead to desires and attachments and give and take policies. These are satisfied through being born to a certain family with certain genetic structure, certain environmental exposure that will bring into fruition the karmas that we have sowed the seeds for in our previous lives. So the karmas act through the genes, either because we are born to certain parents or because of the environment that those parents provide that will lead to those gene mutations, and then we will have the outcome. This is my thinking only. I hope you like it. If you like, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.